I'm at the Columbia River near the border between Washington and Oregon. You can see the river here that flows all the way down to Portland and the Pacific Ocean. We're on former lands of Native American tribes where the stories of Coyote were very prevalent. Coyote was a trickster god of a lot of the Native American tribes of the Pacific Northwest. His stories can help explain how the world came to be. This massive river, the Columbia River, was actually created about 15,000, 20,000 years ago by Ice Age floods, where the Missoula waters flowed west to the Pacific Ocean in a massive series of kind of seismic and hydrologic activity. We're going to learn the story of Coyote and the twin sisters. And we're actually going to find those twin sisters today by hiking up to these twin rock columns. So let's go hiking. So much like Loki in Norse mythology, or Nancy the Spider in African mythology, Coyote was a trickster god who kind of helped to explain how the world came to be. Whether it was the formation of the sun and the moon, or how humans got fire. Coyote was sometimes good and sometimes bad. He would often fight with animals like buffalo or raven. So according to the legend, Coyote would watch these sisters fishing down in the Columbia River. And every day they would catch fish. But at night, he would destroy their fish traps, leaving them broken-hearted and on the verge of starvation. Of course, he did this to trick them so that they would eventually agree to marry him. Okay, I'm up here, almost at the very top of the rock formation where the two sisters are. We're going to get a different view from the side here. You can see the river down there. So maybe this is where Coyote sat from, watching the Cayuse sisters fishing successfully every night, catching fish, and Coyote destroyed their fish traps. He promised that he would stop destroying the fish traps if they would marry him, and so they agreed. And for a while, the sisters and Coyote were happily and successfully married. But most Coyote stories don't end the way you think they will. I'm up at the top. Here's one of the basalt columns, and there is the other rock sister. So we're at the very peak, kind of in the valley between the two. Coyote would eventually come to resent and grow jealous of his wives. Even though they agreed to marry him, he became envious of their success in fishing, or for whatever reasons, he decided to turn them to stone. And he himself became a rock nearby so that he could keep an eye on them. Maybe this rock over here is the rock that Coyote turned himself into. Pretty high up, you would not want to slip. The government put up cables around these rocks. But it just kind of seems to feel like another way that these rocks are imprisoned and trapped here forever. Maybe the story of Coyote and the sisters who turned to stone is a way of explaining how suddenly the Missoula floods ripped through this part of the country on their way to the Pacific Ocean, perhaps even flooding fishing communities. Flood that caused the Columbia River to form many 15,000 years ago. A kind of reference to that sudden catastrophic apocalypse where entire communities were suddenly exposed to this flood that came through and wiped out huge sections of what was previously land and then that became water.